Are you currently living in Canada in an overpriced city like Toronto or Vancouver? You're probably considering a move. Or you could be a new immigrant coming to Canada from Brazil, India, or some other place in the world, and you're debating on what city is right for you. Well, in today's video, we're gonna go over 4 pros and 3 cons to living in Kitchener-Waterloo. Pro number 1 is we have an extremely strong economy here in Kitchener-Waterloo. We have very low unemployment rates, and we have a very diversified economy in regards to where our employment comes from. We have large startups happening on a monthly, yearly basis with places like Google, which is expanding their large campus in downtown Kitchener, as well as we have places like Vidyard, D2L, Kik. Number 2 is the quality of life here actually ranks very, very high in comparison to other cities in Canada, and of course to other cities around the world, as Canada is one of the best places in the world to live in. Based upon many rankings, you can just easily Google search how Canada ranks compared to other countries. We're usually in the top 10, top 5, maybe even in the top 3, depending on how you weigh certain categories. But right now I'm going to compare Kitchener to other cities within Canada. And if you take a look at a website, numbeo.com, it's a great website where you can put in information about where you live and rank yourself in regards to things like the traffic time, pollution, climate, cost of living, purchasing power. And they compare all of these, take them all into consideration, and give out a score. If you take a look at Kitchener, it's ranked higher than most cities in Canada, even higher, 30 points higher than Toronto. Where Kitchener really ranks high in is our purchasing power, which we have high incomes with a lower cost of living compared to larger cities, as well as the traffic time, which is extremely low. The pollution index, again, extremely low because we're outside of the main areas like Toronto and Hamilton, which has a lot of pollution with the steel factories. If you're thinking about moving to Kitchener-Waterloo or have any questions real estate related, my link is down below. Fill it out and we can have a chat. Let's get back to the video. Pro number 3 is the access to nature here that we have in Kitchener-Waterloo, like Victoria Park, which is right downtown Kitchener. It has a very New York Central Park-esque vibe to it, with all of the new developments happening all around the city in a great little lake, Victoria Park Lake, that runs through the middle. It's a great place to hang out with the family, walk around the trails. There's also skating there in the winter as well as the Kitchener City Hall has free skating in the winter right outside there, similar to Toronto. Huron Natural Park area is absolutely fantastic. It's massive. It's on the southwest end of the city in obviously Huron. It's a over 400-acre park with plenty of trails, lakes, tons of forests to frolic about, runs, hiking, biking, and all of the like. And the 4th pro to Kitchener is our close proximity to other cities, as well as the general location is great, right? You're still an hour from Toronto, but now with the HOV lanes opening up and that widening of the 401 between Milton and Toronto, it makes things much more quickly. When you're traveling from Kitchener to Toronto east, it's much more quickly than traveling from Mississauga to the eastern side of the city like Scarborough. Kitchener is ideally located based on the fact that it's not in the winter snowy area belt, which places like Drayton, Hanover, Arthur, and a few other towns and cities north of Kitchener-Waterloo, they get a lot of snow in the winter. We don't tend to get that much snow compared to them. You get access to many lakes within 1 hour and a half. You can go to Lake Erie fairly quickly, Lake Ontario fairly quickly, and even Grand Bend, which is a blue zone beach, absolutely beautiful. And if you're living in Kitchener-Waterloo, that is my beach to go to in the summer. Let's get into the cons. There's obviously some drawbacks to living in Kitchener-Waterloo, and one of them, of course, is winter. In Canada, we do get this thing called winter. It's brutal, I'm gonna warn you, but it's one of the warmer cities in Canada, other than on the west coast where you do have places like Vancouver and Victoria, which don't get that much snow. But in regards to Kitchener-Waterloo, typically the winter months where you first get snow is gonna happen towards the end of November into about the first 2 weeks of March. And then from there, you have a very short season of spring. There's a joke around Canada in general that we have 2 seasons. We have winter and construction because it switches from one to the other right away, as we have a very short spring season And then summer is typically about 3 months. This year in particular, in 2022, we had a great year in regards to weather, and September was fantastic. We had high temperatures in like the 20s, which is absolutely great. I even went to the beach for the first time in mid-September, which I had never done before. So maybe climate change is a good thing. Just kidding. Con number 2 is the nightlife here is lackluster. It's very limited. We don't really have that many great bars or clubs, especially in regards to the older crowd or even the ones that have graduated college. There are a lot of clubs here that are more geared towards the large student population that we have within Kitchener-Waterloo, because we do have 2 amazing universities. But in Uptown Waterloo, where the majority of bars are, they are geared towards students. You are not going to find the same caliber of clubs like you are in Toronto. If you want to check out a video on why you should move from Toronto, I have linked it up above on this side. Take a look at it if you're curious. The third con about living in Kitchener-Waterloo is the fact that the cities are both landlocked and we're pretty far away from the lakes. We don't have a great lakefront like Toronto does, Burlington or Oakville. They have beautiful lakefronts. That's one thing that we don't have, and you're kind of going to miss that. But then at the same time, how much time do you really spend at the beach, right? Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.